you guys, it's me, Liberty. I had an idea the other day, and I've been building on it, and I just wanted to kind of talk through it for a minute, and it's about feelings. I know I've talked a bit about the zombies and the attachment styles and the attachment traumas, but today I want to talk about the feelings of the inner child. A lot of us adults have dysfunction, and we can't understand why there is dysfunction. And I know personally that I have seen so much of it come from childhood experiences in which we felt helpless, hopeless, scared, uncared for, unloved. And that built within us a belief that we were not enough, that we were somehow flawed, because the people that were supposed to take care of us, supposed to love us, in the eyes of a child, those people are perfect. And so the child grows up thinking that it was their fault, that there was something wrong with them that made this happen. And so over the course of, the last few years and really the last few weeks, I have kind of been thrust forward. And I can tell you that I did this on my own using some self-hypnosis and some meditation. And it's made a huge difference, but I can tell you that the dysfunction is still there until those wounds are healed, until we find something to resolve all that emotion. And you can't resolve all that emotion until you fully feel it, fully validate your own self, validate your own feelings. And I had been working, I have an exercise in the book that you write a self-empathy letter to yourself. And that had made some progress, but I really didn't get the progress I've been making over the last couple of weeks until I learned to put myself in somewhat of a trance. And I know that sounds all funny, hocus pocus, new age, but I'm telling you, if you can put yourself into a calm, meditative state, you can override your ego, and you can talk to the superego, you can talk to the id. The id is the inner child, the superego is the inner critic, or, if you're somewhat healthy, you don't have an inner critic, you have more of an internal spiritual guide, if you want to say. And so in order to fully feel what the inner child feels, we have to kind of override all our ego, our present moment. So we have to put ourselves in kind of a meditative state. And in that meditative state, we can fully visualize having that conversation with that little child. And we can tell that little child within us that, the things that happened to us, they were awful, they were terrible, or they were not so awful or terrible, depending on how you grew up, but they affected you nonetheless. And you had feelings about it. And those feelings were valid. And so I found that, having that conversation and telling that inner child that it wasn't your fault, just fully feel the feelings you felt. Tell me, were you scared? Were you helpless? How did you feel in those moments? And to, process that, cry it out, tell yourself that those feelings were valid, that, and that you're never going to let that kind of thing happen again. And that's what I've found the last few weeks, is that I am finding that I am no longer allowing things outside of me to trigger that inner child the way that it has. When something outside bothers me and triggers those feelings, I know something's not right. That those feelings are telling me that this feels a lot like what I felt when I was growing up, and I don't ever want to feel that again. And so I have to sit with that inner child and tell them, hey, I know that you got attached to something. I know that you really want this shiny rock, but you know what? it's not your shiny rock. And having that conversation with an inner toddler is quite funny. You know, I have, you know, my notebook is kind of filled with silly little statements of me saying, you know, the rock is mine. I want it. I don't want to put it down. And if you've ever had an argument with a toddler, you can laugh about this because you're having the conversation in your head. And I was really getting in touch with this inner child. And it was cute. And so, you know, I created my super ego is no longer the inner critic. I created, through the self-hypnosis and the visualization, I have a mummy now. I have an internal mummy now. And I was able to, you know, picture in my head this mummy wrapped in linen talking to Kicked Puppy, which is, you know, if you've read any of my stuff, you know, that's the zombie child, the first episode of season 1, Walking Dead. And so I can envision this mummy talking to this little zombie girl, wrapping her up in the linen and comforting her and telling her that, you know, her feelings were valid and she's going to protect her. And so that's the point we need to get to. We need to get to the point where we protect, where we listen to that intuition, those feelings that are saying, hey, something is not right. I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. We listen to that and we tell that child, I will take action. You don't have to lash out at other people. You don't even have to have any contact with the people that have made you feel this feeling. You just have to do something about the feeling. You know, whether that is protecting yourself from people that are energy suckers, or people that are taking advantage of you, or people that aren't being as caring as they should be. Do something to protect that child. You just tell that child that you will do anything to protect her and show that inner child that you are taking that action. So that's a little bit of what's been going on with me lately, what I've been coming up with recently. And so I just wanted to do a quick talk through, and I will expand on this more when I have a little more clarity and a little more of it written down. But that's all I have for right now. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you can put yourself into a meditation and talk to that inner child and find some healing, y'all. Find some healing. With that, Liberty out.